topics that we have for you this morning. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recently declared Hurricane Ian as this year's $15 billion disaster. The Category 4 hurricane destroyed lives and property all across southwest Florida and parts of Cuba last month. This makes it the 8th consecutive year where the United States has experienced more than 10 weather disasters with aftermath effects of over $1 billion and is a new record for disasters in the U.S. The death toll is expected to exceed 340 people, and total cost of infrastructure and property damage is currently estimated at $100 billion, a benchmark we've reached 4 out of the last 5 years. Now, 2 of the 15 extremely expensive disasters took place in Texas in April and May, both being severe weather events. In April, a strong spring storm system brought severe thunderstorms to parts of north and central Texas, southern Arkansas, and northern Louisiana for 3 consecutive days. One severe storm in particular created a tornado in northwest Williamson County, eventually becoming a violent tornado in Salado Bell County. Now in May, an upper-level storm system crossing the Rockies, interacting with a dry line in eastern New Mexico, led to the development of severe storms across the Texas Panhandle and the South Plains.
Wow, that is insane. Yeah, and I feel like climate change has really just made these natural disasters way worse than they even used to be. It's just insane seeing especially the financial implications of these storms. What do you think? Do you think there will be another storm such as Hurricane Ian happening again this year?
You know, while I really want to be hopeful that we have seen the last of these events for this year, you know, history says otherwise. And what we've seen is that, you know, just before the end of the year, 2021, $2 billion tornadoes broke out, one in the Midwest and one in the Southeast. However, I am noticing a downward trend. 20 of such billion-dollar weather events happened last year and 22 of the year before. So my hope really is that we're able to continue on that downward trend and close out this year without, you know, any more weather hassles. Yeah. But on to lighter themes. Yes. We're in the music capital of the world.
Yes, we
Tell
are.
me what happened with ACL.
Okay, so I was at ACL this past weekend, and, you know, Austin City Limits is a festival that's been going on, I can't remember the date that it started, but many, many years. And so this past weekend, famous country star Casey Musgraves finished it off on Sunday. She performed at 8 p.m. She sang some of her fan favorite songs, such as Butterflies, High Horse, and Merry-Go-Round. And what came as a shock to many audience members, even me, I was right up there, was that midway through the concert, Casey was greeted by Beto O'Rourke, a candidate in this year's midterm elections. Democrat Beto O'Rourke is running against incumbent Republican Greg Abbott. Casey had asked someone from backstage to bring her a beer, then Beto emerged and handed her one, waving to the crowd afterwards. I was there myself and got to witness it from the front row, and it sure took me by surprise. Casey was very casual with this, and I kind of liked it. You know, these celebrities are endorsing you know, these politicians, and this was just a very subtle way to do that, and it was just kind of fun witnessing that in person.
Yeah, when I heard about it, I was like, really? That is so random.
Yeah, yeah, she just stopped singing in the middle of her song and was like, oh, I could really use a beer, could someone from backstage bring me one? And then he just emerged from backstage, and everyone was like, what? And he didn't even say anything. He just
I really
waved.
like how you said emerged.
Yeah, no, he did. It just came out of the darkness, and I was like, okay, that's actually him. Yeah, it was, I don't know, I just thought it was funny and a good way to close out the show.
So the people that, you know, cheering, clapping, what was the reaction?
Yeah, people were just cheering and chanting his name. Some people were doing that. It was, yeah, it was definitely funny to see.
I think it was more of a social media movement.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It kind of reminded me of how when Harry was here at the Moody Center, for a week, a couple weeks ago, I think, he had a Beto sticker on his guitar. And so it was kind of the same deal as that, and they, you know, I remember them showing them zooming in on the sticker on his guitar.
Yeah, so do you think this was a political move?
Oh, for sure, yeah. But I mean, it kind of worked. I feel like some people that probably it caught them by surprise, and that made them probably, you know, search up his name, and yeah.
Wonderful. Now, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the University of Texas's Voices Against Violence has been hosting events and workshops all month to foster healthy relationships, help students identify instances of violence, and to provide support for victims of domestic and relationship violence.
So what is Voices Against Violence?
Well, it's a student-led organization within the Counseling and Mental Health Center on campus. Voices Against Violence is dedicated to supporting students who have experienced or are experiencing relationship violence.
So just how rampant is domestic violence amongst college students?
Well, according to Partnership Against Domestic Violence, 21% of college students report having experienced dating violence by a current partner, and 32% of college students report experiencing dating violence by a previous partner.
Oh my God, I am very surprised by those stats. So what is this organization doing to raise awareness about this?
The biggest event in the series, Breaking the Silence, comes up on Thursday, October 27th, and it will provide UT's community with information and resources on relationship violence prevention and on creating a culture of support and awareness. They are also offering refreshments to everyone who shows up. But the biggest attraction for me is the open mic, where anyone who desires to share their story actually can.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm definitely going to plan, to attend this. Where does it take place?
The event will be taking place at the Welch South Plaza patio on campus, and VAV also provides survivors with emergency funds for students who may fall into financial need after deciding to speak up about abuse they might be experiencing or have experienced. The organization also advocates for bystander intervention. So if you see or hear something, say and do something.
Indeed, if you see or hear something, say and do something.
And Paulina, before we move on to our next point, this Thursday on the 20th of October, people around the world and on campus are encouraged to wear all things purple, like I have on, and as a symbol of peace, courage, survival, honor, and personal dedication to dating and domestic violence awareness. Now, any student in need of immediate support should please contact the Counseling and Mental Health Center's emergency line at 471 I'll take that again, 512-471-2255.
Wow, yes, I think that is very important, and I'm so glad that, the campus is doing something about this. But let's take a look at the weather. Joining us on set is Izzy Rosen. What's the weather looking like, Izzy?
Well, thank you so much, Paulina. This morning, the temperature is at 44 degrees, making it the coldest morning in Austin since April. But don't take out your winter coats too soon, as it'll be sunny and 74 degrees for the rest of the afternoon. It's officially that time of year where layers are your best friend. Sunny skies take over Thursday and Friday with a high near 86 and overnight lows bottoming out at 56 and 61. Saturday and Sunday will take us back into that summer feeling with a clear and sunny skies with a high of 89 and a low of 71. Perhaps there'll be some rain on Sunday evening with a 51% chance of rain after midnight. On Monday, we're looking at a high of 86 with a 60% chance of rain and partly sunny skies on Tuesday with a high of 82 and a low of 61. Fall has definitely arrived in Austin. That's all from me from the Weather Center. I'm Izzy Rosen.
Thank you so much, Izzy. Stay tuned for more on Good Morning Longhorns after the break. Welcome back to Good Morning Longhorns. Have you ever been in need of essentials like snacks or laundry detergent but do not have the time to run out and grab it? Good Morning Longhorns correspondent Logan DeBell explains how you can simply duffel it.
A new storefront on Guadalupe.
Safe Horns, a nonprofit organization committed to improving safety at the University of Texas at Austin and surrounding neighborhoods where students live, recently collaborated with Austin Energy to provide over 600 streetlights, repair light fixtures, and overall fix West Campus's lighting issue and safety for students. Good Morning Longhorns report. Izzy Rosen sits down with President Joel McNew to discuss more about their organization, their mission, and their work with Austin Energy.
In April of 2016, Harka Weiser was raped and murdered. And it was really a pivotal moment of, are we going to be just parents on social media? Or are we going to do something about it? So it was really a call to action for us. Then we took our efforts to the campus community. The number one thing that students always said to us was, please do something about the lighting. Comments from students were, I feel like I'm going to be murdered. I do not feel safe. This is scary. Nothing, there's no lighting in my area. I kept reading all the comments to them. People were being assaulted, being victimized. Um, and that got the attention of Austin Energy. They reached out, and as Elton Richards reached out and set up an appointment. He's head of operations there at Austin Energy. I met him with his entire team. They were phenomenal. We really appreciated Austin Energy allowing us to share with them our concerns. They came in, they opened up the canopy around the lights to create a broader illumination. Then they also raised the canopy, which I love. I literally cried the first time we came back for a walkthrough. That was the most important thing to me. They had the high pressure sodium lights, which give a yellow kind of golden glow, being replaced by LED. It really opens up the illumination and it allows people to see their surroundings. It's amazing. The biggest thing that you could help us do is have people understand that we are a nonprofit. All of our donations, everything we receive goes back to the initiatives that we're working on. We also work with Texas Sunshines and co-host self-defense classes. Are on Instagram. Parents follow us on Facebook. We The thing that's challenging is
In its most recent Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance System report, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention showed that 1 in 11 female and 15 male teenagers said they experienced dating violence in 2019. I spoke with one teenager who is working with Texas Advocacy Project to make sure those numbers go down.
When Finley Wilms went to the hospital for her yearly checkup, she had no idea her life was about to change forever. Following a recommendation from her doctor, Wilms joined the Teen Ambassadors of Hope.
I've seen a lot of emotional abuse in my life. I've witnessed it. Teen dating violence is not talked about at all. I had no idea that that was even a common issue.
Nearly a quarter of women and 15% of the men surveyed by the CDC say they experienced dating violence before turning 18. That's one reason the Texas Advocacy Project started the Teen Ambassadors of Hope to educate teens in an effort to bring down those numbers.
The number one myth that people have around all violence, domestic and or dating violence, is that it can't happen to them and that it's not happening in their community. Dating violence happens to women and men. It is about power and control.
Many kids in high school and college can now identify dating violence through the work of Texas Advocacy Project. And on UT's campus, the Title IX office and the Counseling and Mental Health Center, through its Voices Against Violence program, work to raise awareness.
Title IX started out as a way to prevent gender discrimination, but it also protects against dating violence. Their office on campus provides courses on how to spot and report it.
You know, we have touch points with students throughout their time on campus. The first one being the sexual assault prevention modules that students go through before they get to campus.
Williams says she feels more educated and encourages those impacted from dating violence to speak up.
I would say it starts with a conversation. It can be really scary to find someone to trust. There are organizations like the Texas Advocacy Project in place. You're not alone.
In Austin, Aniola Lunge for Good Morning Longhorns.
Stay tuned for more Good Morning Longhorns after the break.
Welcome back to Good Morning Longhorns. It's National Business Women's Week, a week dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the women in businesses that we admire, like our fantastic guest today, Kaya. Now, Kaya is an entrepreneur and the co-founder of Gmlh Beauty, a makeup brand made by creatives for creatives, and we are absolutely thrilled to have one of UT's own here with us today. Welcome, Kaya.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Thank you for being here so early. I hope we didn't mess with your beauty sleep.
It's quite early, but we're doing okay.
Wonderful. So first things first, I want you to tell me about Gmlh Beauty, how Gmlh Beauty came to be. What was the process like realizing that you wanted your makeup dreams to come true?
I think one of the hardest parts with entrepreneurship is just knowing where to get started. And the only way to start, and you will never be prepared, is to just start and figure it out as you go. So my sister, who's also a UT alum, she and I started the brand in, I would say, about 2018. It took about a good 2 years to finally get the brand to launch. As you can imagine, starting a makeup brand from scratch, especially never having experience in the beauty industry, it's very, very intimidating. But it was really rewarding, and I mean, I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Okay, so growing up, did you ever imagine that you would end up as an entrepreneur, or was it something that came to you over time?
100%. I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. All of my family are entrepreneurs, so it's definitely in my blood.
Oh my gosh. So what did you study in school?
So I actually studied chemical engineering, and you would think that makeup and engineering don't have a lot in common, but actually with product development, my knowledge of chemistry and engineering comes in very handy.
That's amazing. And so which women in business were you inspired by in particular while you were, developing your product?
There are so many inspiring female founders out there. I think my favorite is Sima Bansalchada from Svinis Ifler. It's an artificial floral company. They're most popular from the Kardashians, but she is one of the best entrepreneurs that I know. She's super inspiring, and I would love my business to kind of model itself off of hers.
Okay, so what's your business model right now? So are you the CEO? Are you the CFO? Do you have boards? Do you have a board? Do you have investors? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are actually 100% self-founded. We are self-funded. We don't have any investors on board, which means that we have a lot of control over the business. So I act as CEO and CFO and COO and all the roles. My sister is very much the creative director. Everything you see from our packaging, our branding, is all my sister. She's very talented.
I like that you say it's self-funded. So
Yes.
How much exactly does it take to start a business for people who might be looking to start, but they're like, okay, everybody is into venture capitalism now. What can I do with my $5?
Yeah, I mean, truly, everyone asks me, how much money does it take to get started? It really just depends on what your business is going to look like and how big you want to scale it immediately. If you're going for VC funding, you obviously need a lot of money and you can make like a bigger production. But my business started with like literally 500 pallets that we started selling out of my living room. So you can start anywhere.
Okay, and what does the day-to-day of being an entrepreneur look like for you?
My days never look the same. I will say a lot of my time is spent just staring at my laptop. It's not very fun, it's not very entertaining, but I will say that all the hard work gets done with just my laptop, which I think is the incredible thing about the internet nowadays, is that you can literally launch a business from your sofa.
That's amazing. And because I looked at your Instagram and I saw 14,000 followers, and I'm like, what's your marketing strategy? How have you been able to establish Gmlh as a brand that people want to identify with?
I think being community first is extremely important to us. We would not be anywhere without our community, so really focusing on authentic engagement with influencers and followers is how we've grown our brand to that point.
That's amazing. Now, actually, before my last question, have you ever gotten approached by investors? And what did that look like?
Yes, we actually have gotten approached by quite a few investors, actually. It's always a respectful decline because we prefer to just have total control over the company, but I have actually found a lot of great mentors through these conversations with investors.
That's so amazing. That is so amazing. Wow. Now, my final question, what do you have to say to ladies who might, be wanting to start a business but are too scared of failure? And why is it important for women to own businesses?
Failure is an insanely important part of any business. Failure brings you one step closer to success. So I'm just saying, if you can knock all your failures out by just trying as hard as you can, that's what you have to do. Women in business is so important because we rule the world.
Okay.
We rule the world. I mean, we have so much intelligence. We have so much emotional intelligence as well. There's no other way to do business.
Okay, and so that's just phenomenal. Thank you for talking to us this morning, Kaya. Good Morning Longhorns. We'll be right back, and we're going to have some of Kaya's products when we come back. Welcome back, Longhorns. It's been an amazing time with Kaya in the studio with me, and she brought some of her products with her today. So what do we have here, Kaya?
Well, I actually brought two of our best sellers. So a little bit about the brand. We are a brand very much inspired by art because we believe that you are art.
I am.
You are. 100%. So this is our Van Gogh palette. As you can see, the cover art is very inspired by Starry Night, which is his most iconic painting. The inside, I mean, this color story is just perfect for fall and winter. All of our products are vegan and cruelty-free, just FYI, so you can feel good about what you're putting on your skin. The other palette that I brought with me is the Honoré palette. And this is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. It actually matches my outfit perfectly. So as you can see, we have a lot of products that are catered towards a lot of different color stories. So if you like more pinks and neutrals, this is for you. If you prefer something darker and moodier, you can go for the Van Gogh palette. So there's something for everyone.
What's your website?
Our website is Gmlh.com. That's Kailav.com.
And you need to mention that you're on sale right now.
This is true. We are doing a 50% off sale until the end of October. So if you want to pick up either of these palettes for $14, I'm just saying, time is of the essence. Some of our stuff is selling out, so I would take advantage.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kaya. And you know, Longhorns, this is your sign to start that business and be amazing. So what truly starts here can change the world. Till we come your way same time next week, stay amazing.